Is the Rothschild family really the richest in the world? They're whispered about as the ultimate power players, the richest family to ever exist. But is all that hype true? In 1744, a young Mayer Amschel Rothschild lived crammed inside Frankfurt's bustling Jewish ghetto, Judengasse. Unlike most residents scraping by in the low-income area, Mayer's family had a history steeped in finance. His father, a currency exchanger and coin collector, sparked Mayer's interest in the world of money. The limitations of Judengasse wouldn't confine Mayer's ambitions to Judengasse's limitations. He landed a coveted apprenticeship at the renowned Simon Wolf Oppenheimer Bank in Hanover. Here, he honed his skills in currency exchange and foreign trade, knowledge that would become the building blocks of his future financial empire. Back in Frankfurt, Mayer took over his father's business, but his sights were set on bigger things. His expertise in rare coins attracted wealthy clients, and one, in particular, would change his life forever. Crown Prince Wilhelm of Hesse. Impressed by Mayer's knowledge, Wilhelm appointed him as the court factor, entrusting him with managing the royal finances and taxes. This prestigious position opened doors for Mayer, allowing him to build a vast network and significantly grow his wealth. By the time Europe plunged into the chaos of the French Revolution, Mayer Amschel Rothschild had become a heavyweight in international finance. He wasn't just dealing with coins anymore, he was handling massive sums of money and complex financial transactions. The political turmoil presented a golden opportunity for the shrewd banker. Mayer's strategic financial maneuvers during the Napoleonic Wars had solidified his reputation as a financial wizard. The 20th century wasn't as kind to the Rothschilds. World wars chipped away at their fortune, and the rise of central banks meant governments were no longer as reliant on private lenders. Branches began to splinter, some fading from their financial limelight. The London branch, however, proved to be the resilient one. Sir Evelyn Rothschild, the Queen's financial advisor until her passing in 2022, steered the ship with a steady hand. Think of him as the captain navigating the choppy waters of the financial world. Today, the Rothschilds are still wealthy, but their fortune is a mere shadow of its former glory. Sources say that their net worth is around $1 billion, a significant drop from their peak. Their banking empire has shrunk and several branches have dissolved. Yet, the Rothschild name remains a titan in the financial world. It's synonymous with power, prestige, and a time when a single family could influence the course of history. Ever wondered how one family became a financial empire? Mayer Rothschild wasn't just a man with a plan. He was a man with 5 sons and a map of Europe. He envisaged a financial empire spanning countries, and his sons were the keys. Nathan, the eldest, set sail for London, a bustling centre of trade. There he built a currency trading business that thrived on the constant churn of money. Salomon headed to Vienna, a city ripe with opportunity for government projects. He established SM von Rothschild, a bank that funded these grand endeavours, making him a player in the political arena as well as the financial one. James wasn't far behind. Paris, the heart of France, beckoned. He opened the Rothschild Frères, a bank that quickly gained the trust of the French government, becoming their official banker. This wasn't just about managing money, it was about wielding influence. The youngest Karl wasn't left out. He journeyed to Naples, a city teeming with potential. There he established a powerful banking house, solidifying the Rothschilds' presence in southern Europe. The Rothschilds weren't just about making money, they were about making connections. By becoming the go-to bankers for governments, they gained access to exclusive information and deals. They financed wars, rebuilt nations, and played a significant role in shaping the political landscape of Europe. Of course, with great power comes great gossip. The Rothschilds became the target of rumors and conspiracy theories, some true, some wildly exaggerated. But one thing was certain, they were a force to be reckoned with, and we'll discuss this later on. How did a single family become the financial kingpin of Europe? The Rothschilds were the original international bankers, kind of like the super rich, super connected IMF. They weren't just handing out pocket change either. We're talking about financing armies, building canals, the whole shebang. And their secret weapon? A network that crisscrossed Europe like spiderwebs. They had a brother in London, another in Frankfurt, and another in Vienna, all communicating with lightning speed through a private messaging system. Kings and emperors couldn't keep secrets from these guys, and more importantly, neither could their rivals. This meant the Rothschilds were always one step ahead. They knew which side was likely to win a war, which countries were about to strike it rich, and who was desperate enough to borrow with a boatload of money. So they could lend with confidence, knowing they'd get their money back with interest. Plus, they weren't afraid to take risks. When the Duke of Wellington defeated Napoleon at Waterloo, for example, Nathan Mayer Rothschild, the family's London patriarch, took a huge gamble and brought up British government bonds before the news even reached the stock exchange. When the victory was announced, the value of the bonds skyrocketed, and Rothschild walked away with a fortune. Of course, with great power comes great conspiracy theories. People started whispering that the Rothschilds controlled the entire government, that they were pulling the strings behind the scenes. The truth is probably less exciting. They were just really good at what they did. They understood finance, they knew how to manage risk, and they had an unmatched network of contacts. Fast forward a couple of hundred years, and the Rothschilds are still a major force in finance, although they're a lot less flashy these days. They've moved into private banking, wealth management, and financial advisory. Basically, they help rich people stay rich. But their influence on the financial system we know today is undeniable. They were the pioneers of international finance, the original global players, and a reminder that sometimes the most powerful people aren't the ones with the biggest armies, but the ones with the deepest pockets. The Rothschilds weren't just about banking. They were like the original venture capitalists, spreading their money around like planting seeds. They bought vineyards in France that still produce fancy wine today. They funded the building of the Suez Canal, a giant ditch that lets ships zip between the Red Sea and the Mediterranean. They even got their hands on the first major oil well in Europe. These investments weren't just about making a buck. They also gave the Rothschilds a ton of influence. By funding these big projects, they became important figures in different industries. It was like a handshake that never ended. The Rothschilds gave money, and in return, they got to have a say in how things were run. What challenges did the Rothschild family face in the 20th century? But even the fanciest families have their problems. The Rothschilds were spread out across Europe, with branches in places like Naples, Frankfurt, Austria, and France. This all worked well for a while, but things started to fall apart. In Naples, there weren't any sons left to inherit the business, so in 1900, they had to shut up shop. In Frankfurt, it was a similar story. No male heirs meant no business. World War II was a disaster for the Austrian branch. The Nazis came in, stole everything they had, and basically ran them out of business. The French branch wasn't much luckier. In 1981, the government decided they wanted to run the bank itself, so they took it over. So, what went wrong? It turns out that building an empire that lasts forever is pretty tough. The world kept changing, and the Rothschilds weren't always able to keep up. New political ideas like socialism meant governments were more interested in running things themselves. Plus, without strong leadership from sons to take over, some branches just fizzled out. The Rothschilds are still around today, but their banking empire isn't quite what it used to be. Still, their story is a fascinating one, showing how wealth and power can grow like crazy, but even the biggest empires can crumble if they're not careful. For centuries, they've been the powerhouse in the world of finance, building a banking dynasty that spanned continents. Their success story is impressive, but it also became entangled in a web of wild conspiracy theories. So, how much truth is there to the rumors? Let's separate fact from fiction. There is no denying that the Rothschilds were financial wizards. They rose to prominence in the 18th and 19th centuries, playing a key role in funding governments and infrastructure projects. Think international loans and massive investments in things like railroads and canals. This strategic thinking and financial smarts made them one of history's most influential banking families. Fast forward to today, and their wealth isn't what it used to be. The family has branched out, with descendants pursuing various careers. But their impact on the financial world is undeniable. Their story is a textbook example of how smart financial decisions and a strong family legacy can leave a lasting mark. If you enjoyed this dive into the Rothschilds' legacy, hit that like button. Sharing is caring, so share this video with your friends. And if you want more like this, subscribe for new content every week. And don't forget to ring that notification bell to stay updated.